Hi, I'm Taylor of Lynn Crochet, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make these cute little scrunchies on an Addi Egg. So this is kind of what they would look like on your wrist. We're going to make them using Caron Simply Soft. These two are made using I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby. This one is a hand-dyed yarn that I made at the Makers Retreat with Ashley of A Crafty Concept. And we're gonna make one that's a little bit more scrunched up. I've been playing around with different lengths. This one's a little bit more scrunched. This one's a little bit more loose, but I'll show you guys how to get the more scrunched look if you like and prefer the ribbed look, or one that's just a little bit more flat. It just depends on what kind of style you like. It's really easy to adjust them. So of course you're going to need an Addi Egg for this tutorial. I got mine off of Amazon. I think they're like 30 to 40 bucks. I will put a link below where you can get one off of Amazon as well. It'll be an affiliate link. And then you're just gonna need a weight forward yarn to use. Well, normally I prefer to use cotton for a lot of things. Cotton has zero stretch and doesn't really work well on Addis, so I would just stay away from cotton. I would use, like I said, Caron Simply Soft, or I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby, they said is a good one. Joann's Big Twist works as well. Or I think it's just Joann's Twist yarn. But just a worsted weight yarn works best. And then you might need a little tool to help you pull the yarn over the stitches, because the Addi Eggs are a little bit finicky. They're not as easy to use as the larger Addis. For sure, they're much more just troublesome, but it is worth it, I promise. There are little hooks you can get if you have like a hand yarn. Well, there's little tools that you can get that help you pick up the yarn and go over. I own one. I got it off Amazon. I'll see if I can link that below too. And it basically helps you pick up stitches. And I can't find mine, so I'm just using my Cricut hook tool. If you have any sort of like hooked tool like this, a pointy tool. This one's really sharp. They don't have to be sharp to help you. That will benefit you. And then you also might need either a yarn needle to help you thread the yarn through here, or a really small crochet hook. I use this one a lot. It's a 2.25 to help me pull the yarn through. So let's just get started. Basically this Addi makes a little I cord, and that's what we're gonna use. Oh, you're also gonna need elastic, you guys. This is what we're gonna put inside the scrunchie, to make it a scrunchie. So the first thing I do is I take my hook and I put it right through that little center hole. So what I do is put my crochet hook through there and then hook my yarn, pull it through. That's probably the trickiest part. You might be able to, like I said, use a thinner yarn needle and get it through that way. And then the next thing we're gonna do is, once you have it through that loop, we're going to make just a little knot and make a loop at the end, and we're gonna drop that through the center. And what you're making this knot for, once it's pulled through the center, is to hook this little weight on the bottom. So we're gonna put that weight on the bottom, and then we're going to pull it tight so that the weight is snug against the bottom. We're going to use our tool to pick up the yarn. This end is the end that started through there. We're gonna pick up the part that goes through the hole and before the thread, and we're going to cast on to our Addi Egg. So I'm gonna pull it tight. I'm gonna pull the egg tight up to the bottom. I'm going to wrap it around this first hook. I'm gonna go behind the second one, in front, behind, in front, behind. And now we are back to our first stitch. I'm going to pull this yarn tight, and now you want to slowly crank. You want to make sure that that weight on the bottom is not touching the ground. What that weight does is pull your stitches down through there, otherwise they get bunched up and your stitches will stop coming off. Angie and Britt has a really great tutorial on Addi Eggs. If you watch this tutorial and like you still can't get your Addi Egg to work, I would totally check out Angie and Britt's tutorial. She's got some really good tips and tricks. As you can see right here, this stitch is supposed to drop and it didn't. So that's why I use this tool for, is to just pull down those little stitches that are supposed to drop when they don't drop. So you can see that one right there was gonna act like it was gonna go behind the red. We don't want that, so we're just gonna pull that forward. And you won't have to do this the whole time, it's just when you're getting it started, it seems to be a little bit more finicky. And we're gonna keep cranking and cranking and cranking. You'll notice that I lift my Addi up a lot because you, like I said, you do not want this weight resting on the floor, or else it's gonna give you issues. So you wanna make sure you're lifting your Addi. And once I crank out a little bit more, I'm gonna move my weight higher up the chain and I'm gonna show you guys. You can put the top of the egg on, and that will kind of give you a self threader. There's a little hole right there in the egg, and you can use that to hold it. Personally, I just like to lightly hold my thumb over it. Kind of put it in like the crack of my thumb right here and just hold it there, because I find that sometimes my stitches don't drop and I would have to use my little tool, and if I have the egg cover on, I really can't do that. So we're gonna keep doing this. I don't have a set amount of rows, I just use a measurement. So I'm gonna show you guys what that is, and just keep cranking for a while, and I will show you what this looks like after I've done a lot more cranking than this. Okay, as you guys can see, you can now see my little I-cord hanging off the bottom. So I'm going to unhook the weight from here, and I'm actually going to hook it on the bottom of the I-cord. And then that way, my weight is now higher up and it's not hanging so low. And then also, as I continue to crank, I can just hook it farther and farther up the I-cord, so I won't have to hold it up so far. You can also hang this on the side of a table so that the weight eventually falls over the edge as you crank. I personally just hold it up and I haven't found any issues with it. But we're gonna wanna crank until our I-cord is anywhere from 16 to 20 inches long. So I just want to show you guys what it looks like when you move that weight up a little bit on your I-cord. You just grab it, move it up, and then keep cranking. Like I said, every once in a while you will have to just grab a stitch. If you find yourself having to grab like every stitch, sometimes just giving a little tug on the bottom to pull that weight down a little bit can help. And you'll have it for like a few stitches in a row probably that you'll have to correct it, and then it will work itself out and you'll be good to go. So like I said, we're gonna go anywhere from 16 to 18 or 16 to 20 inches. If you want it to be more ruffled, you're gonna wanna make a longer I-cord. If you want it to be more flat and smooth, then you're gonna make a shorter I-cord. Okay, once you get to your roughly anywhere from 16 to 20 inches, this one is definitely closer to 20. I think this one is closer to 16, so you guys will be able to see the difference. We're going to cut our string. I'm going to use my little tool here to pull the yarn out of the threader here. And you're gonna want to, again, attach your weight to help pull the yarn down. And then we're just going to crank. And I think it's gonna take about 2 turns, and then all your stitches should drop off. Sometimes you get a stitch or 2 that tries to hang on, and then you will just use your tool to like pull it off. So this is what our scrunchie sleeve looks like right now. Now we're gonna get our piece of elastic. I had found that a good measurement was around 7 to 7.5 inches for elastic. So I'm gonna go right around there. And then I'm going to use a yarn needle. You can use a crochet hook, or if you have any other tools that you'd prefer to use to thread your elastic. I just found for me personally that taking my elastic and tying it around a yarn needle, just being careful not to poke through the side. You're going to just thread this through there, and then you're going to make sure that you hang on to this end of elastic and you don't thread that all the way through. Okay, make sure that I held on to this end. I'm going to untie that end from my needle. And then now I'm just going to take this elastic and tie it into a knot. And then I'm going to snip these ends a little bit closer. And now you can see that our scrunchie is starting to take shape. Like I said, this is the 20-inch one, so this one's a lot more rumpled and wavy than the 16-inch ones. But now we are going to take our end and our yarn needle, and we are going to make sure that we pick up all these little loops right here, the loose loops that are through the yarn that we use to crank on our machine. This end, the end that you cast on with, already has all of those loops picked up. So what I like to do is just go through and pick up every loop that you see sticking up. Try to go in order. So my yarn is coming out here. I'm just going to go through 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like right here is number 5. And there should be one more right here, 6. So once you've picked up 6 loops, that should be all of your loops that you needed to pick up, and that will prevent your scrunchie from being unwound. So like I said, there's 6 loops on every single one that you're going to want to make sure that you pick up on the ends of these. And you have 2 options. You can either just cinch this closed, and tie a knot. You can just cinch the 2 ends, tie it close, and that will create a little pinch point right here. Or you can choose to weave the ends back and forth and do one of these types things. You just go around. There's really no right or wrong way to join these. It's not going to ever probably look completely seamless, seeing as one end is the starting end and one end is the ending end. But I think that going back and forth and kind of doing this little seam doesn't make it as pinched as if you just cinched and tied the 2. Like I said, no means perfect, but doesn't look bad. And then the scrunchier your scrunchie is, the more hidden the seam will be. And you'll see what I mean in a second. Compared to some of the other scrunchies I've done, this seam will be a lot more hidden. Once I've made my way all the way around, I'm just gonna tie these in a couple knots just to make sure it's secure. And then you can just shove your needle through there, pull your end through, grab your other one, shove your needle in there, go through a few stitches, pull it out, and then we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut it close, but make sure we're not cutting our work. And we have a scrunchie that we made super simply. You can usually make these in like 10 minutes or less. They do not take that amount of time. Like I said, these can be very finicky, but once you figure them out, once you figure out how to use the weight and make sure that the weight's hanging, and you just have a little tool to slip those stitches off every once in a while, it's well worth it. Trust me, for me to knit this or even crochet something like this would probably take, for me to crochet, it would probably take twice as long. For me to knit it, I don't even think I could. Some of you more skilled knitters probably could. But that's the scrunchie tutorial. Like I said, if you guys are having any troubles with your Addi Egg and it's just too finicky and you cannot, no matter what you do, get it to work, go check out Angie and Britt's tutorial. I'll see if I can link it below, or at least link her channel below. She's another person who's got good Addi tutorials too, if you're looking for those, and she sells tags. I think you could really do some cute leather tags right over your seam on here, and that would also add some branding to your scrunchies and look super, super cute. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and yeah, if you have any other tutorials you really want to see, or any of my patterns that I've made that you just really think need a tutorial, let me know below, and I will talk to you guys later.